Hey everybody, it's Greg from Nexus Property Management. We are here at Nexus's headquarters in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and welcome to our first vodcast. This is Your Property Managed, and our first guest is none other than Emilio DiSpirito of the DiSpirito team at HomeSmart Professionals. Now, what we're going to do in this segment is really go where it goes. It's going to be an hour, it might be 2 hours, it might be 3 hours. We don't know. Hopefully not, though. We got to get home for dinner. But what we're going to try to accomplish here is learn about Emilio, learn about his past, learn about what he's doing today, tomorrow, and some of the habits and the lifestyle that he leads that has made him so successful. So Emilio, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, where you grew up, what things you did you play sports? You know, go over your childhood.
Yeah, man. So I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts. My whole family is from Rhode Island. That's why we're back here. Moved back here when I was about 15. But I always grew up in a family that played sports. My dad always worked, 90-hour weeks, just a hardworking guy. I come from a very hardworking family, a very diverse family as well. My oldest brother's adopted, my youngest sister's adopted, my brother had a step, my brother's a half brother, so our family is very well mixed, and I think it makes us really, really cool, really unique. But we grew up not having a lot of stuff, both of my parents always worked super hard, blue collar family. Just a family that always grinded and was very proud and never took handouts, nothing like that. If you want something, you gotta put action in to get that something. I remember there was a point in time where my mom, she was working 2 jobs, my dad was working his job, and she would, be collecting cans and stuff literally to help pay for some stuff and to put my brothers and I all through private school because they believed in a better education. We all went to Catholic schools. And that's super important. And I got to watch my parents, growing up and their hustle. And that's been such a huge driving factor, and I think that definitely helps shape someone too, And you have a similar background yourself with that.
Yeah, blue collar. My dad was a mason. My mom was a bartender, a waitress.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised. My mom would work at night. My dad would work in the day. So they kind of worked shifts.
Yeah.
To raise my sister and I. So, one day I'm hanging out with mom, the next I'm hanging out with dad, and it was very rare, except for the weekends, that we were a family unit together as one. So I grew up living that lifestyle because we had to make ends meet.
You had to, and kids are so damn expensive now, even more than ever. It's crazy. I've got 2 kids, and they're so expensive. But yeah, so my mom was a lunch lady during the day and then worked at Sears at night at the jewelry counter, and my dad was a retail store manager for all sorts of different retail stores. But I remember being a little boy, right, and walking in, and my dad always wore a suit because back in the day they'd wear suits, right? A suit and tie. He had his own office, the wood paneling, John Wayne photos, all these cowboy photos and stuff. And I remember walking in being like, wow, my dad is a total boss, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and he was running the whole store, and I was just like, I want to be like my dad when I grow up. I always wanted to wear a suit. I always wanted to do something. I always wanted to manage but more or less run a company,
Right.
A bit different, So you asked about growing up. It's hard to say what age I started going around knocking on doors, starting my own businesses, bro, but it was young, maybe 9, maybe younger, I don't know. But and a lot of people in business for themselves have the similar story. They always wanted to create. They always wanted to earn. They always wanted to do things, right? So I would just go around knocking on doors. I would print out some things from my computer, make it look nice and professional. Gardening help. I'd mow your lawn. I would shovel your driveway.
Yeah.
And all of those skills really have helped me even up to when I started in real estate. I was so damn broke. We were getting evicted out of our apartment and it started snowing and I was like, I'm gonna go shovel driveways. And this was in East Greenwich, right? And this was in 2012, 2012, 2013, and it was snowing a ton, Greg, and I was broke as hell, couldn't pay for anything. It took me 6 months to earn my first paycheck in real estate. I was going hard. It was I just put all eggs in one basket in the real estate career, full time, triple time, and went around and charged $80 to driveway in East Greenwich to shovel. And we were able to, pay our past rent, pay our current rent, did that all in 2 days, And just, it's been, ever since then, it's just kind of turned around from there.
So that snowstorm was kind of like...
pennies from heaven, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pennies from heaven, that's a good one.
Thank you.
And then nickels from where? Did you get pennies first, and then nickels?
Oh, yeah.
Dimes, quarters, and now it's dollars.
Nickels and dime bags, you can get those anywhere probably. They're legal now. No, but ultimately, dude, it's just, I know where it came from. Think and Grow Rich. You ever hear that book by Napoleon Hill? I would suggest for anybody to read that book. It's a total game changer. It's a wonderful thing. It was the first book I read from front to back. And it puts you in a mindset. And what this gentleman did, Andrew Carnegie, the steel guy, right? He had Napoleon Hill. He was a famous author, up-and-coming author at the time, had him go around the country and interview a couple hundred people, the most successful and people that did not succeed. And he put the traits, this is what I gather, he put the traits in between both, and the common traits in between successful and not successful people. And you read this thing over and over. I read the book 4 or 5 times. And there's an affirmation in the book. And the affirmation, I had my last dollar bill, and I clipped it to the affirmation that I read. And on there, I just said, I'm going to get X amount of money within 12 months and this and that, whatever. And I didn't hit that goal, but I knew to make a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, right? And I knew to keep hunting and fighting for it, and I did. And then finally, that's where the nickels came from, the dimes, the quarters, the dollar coins, all that stuff really just started growing from there, from that mindset.
Right.
And now I just consume so many books now. Love it.
So are you motivated by money?
No, I'm more motivated. I want security. Okay, anybody that says that they're not I want security. I want security for my son. I want, what I mean? Like, I want to be able to have my kid and grow up without having to worry about the mortgage payments, without having to hear those conversations. I mean, how many of our listeners have heard their parents like crying? Or I remember like growing up, my mom, these people work so hard crying about how they're going to make the ends meet. Good people, and work so hard, and I will not be a product of that. Well,
let me ask you this, right? So you came up the opposite way. You guys were working hard, blue collar, just like my family. You're always thinking about the next mortgage payment, the next rent payment. So for your son, he's not going to have to worry about that, is what you want. So how do you instill the work ethic and the drive that you learned from your lifestyle and your parents in your son?
Yeah, I've actually thought a lot about that.
How do you balance it?
Because you're absolutely right. When you see people that are doing okay, that are working really hard and providing for their kids, and their kids worry about nothing, you see a complacency in the kids. And I will not have that at all, because I want him to be, whatever he wants to do, I'm going to support. As long as he doesn't want to be unemployed, I won't support that. Right. Okay, no freaking way. I'm going to teach him about first and foremost work ethic. So how do you do that? And I'm no pro at this. I'm learning how to raise a kid and whatnot. But I believe, it's little things. Like, he doesn't need to know all of that. He doesn't need to know how well or not well dad is doing for the month. He just needs to know he has a place to live and not have to worry about hearing those conversations. That is a stress. But what he does have to worry about is mowing the lawn. He has to worry about doing the driveway. Oh, you want money for this, for that? You need to do chores. And more than just cleaning the room is just something that should be done. That's expected. I'm not paying him to do that.
Oh, you're talking about like an allowance and things like that?
You've got to work for that. And you know what? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to sell me on why you need this. You need something? You want me to get this thing for you, this whatever it is, I don't want to say computer games, because I'm not allowing video games in my house.
Maybe, or a bat or a ball or the latest...
Whatever it is. Yeah.
What are
A go-kart,
matchboxes?
a motorbike, whatever, a bicycle, like anything, a boat. You want that stuff, like you need to sell me on why you need that. And then we need to come up with a game plan on, how you're going to earn the rest of the money. So I'll put a little bit down to help push it along, and then, we'll come up with a business plan. So I'm going to teach him how to do that. I'm also going to teach him how to save money, how to respect money, but more importantly, how to respect other people. And, it took me a long time to learn this, but it's when you give, you're going to get so much more, right? So and that's the biggest thing, right? So you always go out of your way to help people, even when you know they can't help you, right? I didn't know that when I was younger.
That's like, you're doing God's work right there.
Well, you are. You definitely are, I would think. And, I don't know.
So how about this? Do you sell yourself when you want to buy something or spoil yourself? Like, what about when you want something nice? How do you create a threshold so you don't go overboard on yourself? You have a lot of success, a lot of hard work has been put in. You want to enjoy yourself, so how do you kind of gauge maybe, that would be nice to have a boat or buy this lake house or a jet ski or a new truck? Like, how do you keep yourself in check?
Yeah, that's a good question. Ultimately, I know where I came from, and I don't want to do that again. So you see a lot of people when things are good, when the real estate market's good, they buy all fancy new stuff. You'll see people, whipping around a $90,000, $100,000 car. Mm-hmm. You'll see them buy a $500,000 home. Mm-hmm. So what I do is like I got a 2017 truck. It's a nice truck. I love it. It's a beautiful truck. Okay. It's great. I want to keep this, and I'm going to keep it as long as I can. Mm-hmm. I beat on my truck. I drive everywhere,
right? We throw our bikes in it.
We throw our bikes in it and stuff, but you know what? I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And what I do if I'm getting an itch to buy a new car, I drive by, I look at it, and then it just comes to me like, I don't need this shit. Like, I got this. I never had anything this nice. I'm happy. I'm content with this. It's beautiful. It's safe for my kid. It's leather seats, nice ride. I'm going to keep this thing, and it's still going to look good a few years from now.
True.
And I'm going to respect it more because I know how hard I work for it. I hate buying shit like cars. I hate it. It's a depreciating thing. Unless you're buying, antiques and whatever. I invest all my money into DiSpirito team, mm-hmm. into real estate, into things that I know about, into assets. Mm-hmm. And that's what people should, I think, that's how to grow. From what I see, what I read, what I see other successful people doing. So it's not that hard to talk myself out of that. It's just a self-discipline that I learned. My biggest thing is I used to go out to eat too much, and COVID actually helped me with that. Now, I see, right? Yeah, definitely.
I feel like more, I don't know, I was thinking about it on the way into work this morning, like I feel tamed.
Yeah.
As far as like, all right, I can't go out to eat, I can't go play pool, I can't have drinks, I can't go to this show, so I'm going to exercise, or I'm going to paint the deck, or I'm going to cook with my wife at the house. It's just like COVID has tamed my lifestyle, mm-hmm. and I feel financially too. It's been a benefit mentally, physically. Fortunately not affected by the disease, mm-hmm. nor anybody that I know, knock on wood. But it's just been a positive experience in the face of such a negative problem, society-wise. So I've made the best out of it. And it seems like you have too.
Greg, I love what you're saying right there because, again, and that's the reason why you've been doing so well, right? And when you look at, like, people that did well through this and, they had the mindset, like, I'm not going to stop.
Right.
I'm not going to stop. So I don't love problems like this. Okay, I wish it never happened in ways, but when it happened, it's happening. Mm-hmm. So how can we capitalize on this, right? So as soon as the news started coming out about this, my team and I, we had a meeting. We meet every single day on the phone, 7 a.m., our team huddle, okay? And we'll get into that later on why we do that, right? But we met on the phone and I was like, guys, listen, we need to make a change right freaking now. This is coming down the pike. We need to get a website built that talks about COVID, how we're going to bring people in and out of houses, how we're going to do this. Let's get a whole system. Here's how it's going to work. Boom, 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 boom. That day, we got that website up. I hired a full-time marketing person. So while everyone else was cutting back, we were hiring, investing. So instead of buying, a new truck or all the latest sneakers or Jordans or stuff like that, which are nice, but I'll wear my Adidas for 2 years and beat the hell out of them. I don't care. Okay, I'd rather put the money in like dress clothes if I had to put money in it. I want to look nice, right?
To impress.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, you get business or you don't get business the way you look. I'm not going to show up on a listing appointment in jeans. It's just not me, But anyways, where the hell was I going with this, Greg?
You capitalized on a negative.
Yeah, our team, the DiSpirito team, we capitalized on the negative, man. You're right, definitely. So we put that all into place. ABC6 called us. NBC10 emailed me. And they were like, hey, we want to do stories on this. And you guys are like legit, you guys are doing it. And dude, I got to tell you, so many agents and we knew this was going to happen, walked away. And I got to give credit to all the agents on our team.
What do you mean walked away? Like agents in general?
They got scared. They just didn't show up. We were there the whole time. And there was several other realtors there the whole time. A good chunk of real estate agents just were like, oh, we're going to use this, we're going to collect unemployment, and we're just going to walk away.
Island.
In Rhode
Oh,
Island.
I thought you were saying from your team, and I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Oh, no, not from team. Dude, they were all there
You guys
working.
were tight, yeah.
Yeah, oh my God. It made us stronger, more resilient, made our marketing better, our education better for consumers. We got people out of their comfort zone. Everybody on the team made different videos helping out with things like homeschooling kids or different projects or hobbies. And, we just gained so much market share from that time. And also we gained another agent, Pam Hogan.
Yep, who I met at the DiSpirito Awards ceremony a few weeks ago.
Yeah. It was more like DiSpirito Awards barbecue.
I thought it was a ceremony.
Yeah, well, it was.
It was great.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a good time.
Mike was there
On Zoom, we zoomed him in.
Mike got zoomed in for the first time I've ever seen an award given away digitally.
Yeah, dude, it was cool. 1,300% his business increased year over year.
Shout out to Mike. He did
Mike
a
Tellier,
great job the last year over year.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine what he's going to do this year.
Yeah, he's killing it, dude. He's doing really well. The whole team's doing really well. And I thought about that, Greg, on the way in to a meeting today and on the way here. I've been thinking about it all day. I'm like, what really makes our organization wonderful is obviously the people, right? And how we've built it. And everyone on our team has a niche. Imagine contacting a real estate agency and knowing that they're gonna handle this better than anyone else because it's their niche, right? So we have 6 different agents, they all have niches. So now the way we're hiring realtors is we're only hiring realtors where we need to fill a niche. If the best agent, in Rhode Island came to me and said, hey, I wanna sell luxury homes right now. Well, I'm sorry, Pam Hogan has that niche in our team. Right now, we're not ready to build that out right now. We have her, she's, until she can't eat any more sales, we're not building it out.
True.
We wanna keep a very tight, running, very, efficient, but at the same time, we just want everyone there getting fat.
Good way to look at it, because it seems like a lot of brokerages add in. Like you look at a website, I forgot who I was looking at. It was like there's like 60 agents.
Oh yeah.
On one team or brokerage. I don't even know how you guys look at it.
Yeah.
I'm not a realtor, if you could tell. I have my license just so we could rent units and help investors buy, but I am totally in the weeds when it comes to realtor speak. So
oh, come on, you know a lot more than you give yourself credit for.
I know the houses. I don't know the formalities of it, if you will. But what I do know is that some companies have so many people on the staff, if you will, that it's like, who specializes in what? it seems like they're just throwing it in the pot, and they'll get 4 deals a year. So if we got 60 people doing 4 deals, we're successful. But you look at it the opposite way. You're like, we got 5 people, now we got 6 people doing X amount of deals because they specialize.
Yeah.
And we're doing more business than 60 people.
Yeah, we do. We run in circles around. So like there's like, you know, the number one team in this, and I've stopped with all that bullshit. We're number one, we're this, we're that. Because you know what, like, yeah, there's certain things like on our email signature stuff, but we're not going out of our way saying that stuff anymore. Because honestly, the consumer doesn't give a shit.
They don't really know what it means.
And everyone's number one. If you look in real estate in Rhode Island, oh, number one. Like, no, stop. Hey, everyone's not number one. So
I want somebody to say, I'm number 2.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I'll hire you.
Avis Car Rentals, I love this, right? That back in like the 80s, they had billboards out that said, we're number 2, we try harder. That's our message, and I love that.
That's cool.
And we do. And I don't care to be number 1 in volume or transactions. I just want to be the best that I can be at being a team leader.
Yep.
Okay, and I know everything else is going to follow from there. I want to see the agents on our team succeed to levels where they never even thought they could get to. Look at Jackie Karam, right, on our team, right? Jackie is a beast, and Jackie is very, very talented and great at what she does. She's probably going to hit around 10 to 12 million in sales this year.
Wow.
That's huge, dude. Huge.
And her niche is?
Her niche is working with first-time sellers and first-time buyers. So first-time sellers, first-time buyers, those are basically her 2 niches.
So, not to cut you off, but, all right, so she's dealing with first-time buyers, first-time sellers. Joe Fazio is niching in what?
New construction.
New construction.
And first-time sellers.
And first-time sellers, so he's kind of assisting Jackie, vice versa?
No. They deal in 2 different parts of the state, pretty much.
Okay.
You know, so
Territories.
that's another thing that I would like to eventually start breaking out. And Rhode Island's so small, but there's a vast difference between northern Rhode Island and South County. A huge difference, okay? Kent County, Joe specializes in Kent County mainly, and Jackie does most of the northern part of the state.
Interesting.
And they both have Massachusetts and Connecticut licenses as well.
So then you look at Mike Tellier. What's his niche?
Mike Tellier's niche is VA. Mike is a veteran.
Okay.
He's absolutely unbelievable. Veterans, they want to work together with other veterans. And we got this whole thing where we try to hire as many veterans as we can, home inspectors,
Yep.
you know,
Us too.
contractors. Dude, that's what's up, you know. Gotta love our veterans.
Yep.
So much respect to them.
Shout out to your brother.
Shout out to my brother, Robert, just retired as a chief warrant officer in the Coast Guard, 23 years. He's now a general contractor who's absolutely amazing.
He's quick.
He's amazing, yeah.
He's firm. He's fair.
Yeah.
He's a straight shooter.
Straight shooter, man. We love straight shooters. Tell me how it is.
Absolutely. And then you got Pam, who's niching in the
Oceanfront properties, luxury condominiums.
condos. So you guys have it
And Kara.
mapped out. And Kara.
And we have Kara, who is niching in investors
Okay.
and first-time buyers.
Cool.
Okay. So and then mine is I mainly work with people who are on their second or third homes, and I usually niche in listings. Okay, and luxury properties as well.
And getting people to choose the DiSpirito.
Yeah, well, that's definitely part of the team leader hat that I love to wear. I would say I'm the rainmaker of the group. One of them, you know. I mean, we got rainmakers, but my job primarily is to do stuff like this, to go out, to get the network built.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, man, I wouldn't have the team that I have, obviously, without the team. And far too many times, people, I feel, forget that. And like, I want everyone to know that I work with any people behind the scenes, down to the janitors that play, not down, but you know what I mean, like the down as in the organizational chart, to the janitors, like, dude, we need all of them. We had a conversation about that the other day, right? I was talking about how I saw like the trash guy come in the lot. And I was like, yo, what's up to like, these people are some of the hardest working people, and you said it. What'd you say about the blue collar workers and stuff?
Exactly that point is that without the blue collar, there's no white collar.
They keep the country running.
And they're underappreciated.
I would agree with
and
that.
They're disrespected and they're looked down upon. and I want to be the blue-collar billionaire.
You will be. I want to ask you some things about that. I want to hijack your interview for a minute.
You want to hijack my show?
I do. We went on a nice bike ride the other day, right?
Yep.
Goddard Park. It was beautiful. Hell of a workout. We were with Sam Alba. And his brother Geraldo.
Yep.
Great guys. And then after that, we got a burger. It was delicious. And Greg and I were having a conversation, and you were talking about how you're going to be a billionaire, right? And you said, Regis had the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but now, let's increase the stakes, because now people want to be a billionaire. I totally believe you're going to be a billionaire, right? That is a very hard task, and only a very small percentage, 1/100% of people in the world or less are billionaires. What is your plan? How do you plan to achieve something of one out of several million people? How do you achieve that? How are you going to achieve that? What are you going to do?
So my plan to be a billionaire is pretty simple. So how many zeros are in a billion?
Oh man, you got to put me on the spot like that. Well, there's 5 in a million, right?
No, that's 100,000.
That's right.
It's good you're not motivated by money.
Listen, man, the best business owners and salespeople are C students. Okay, we don't understand no, and with sales and stuff, and we just keep going and taking the abuse. But go ahead. How many?
I don't know.
So there's 9 zeros.
There's 9 zeros. So there's 9 zeros in a billion. Okay, and the way I look at it is, for me to get to billionaire status, each of my houses will be worth $500,000. That's what I'm.
Okay.
That's what my forecast is. By the time I'm 50, which is my goal. 20 years. I want to be a billionaire. So if each house is conservatively worth $500,000, how many houses do I need?
Dude,
2,000.
Okay, thank you.
So I need 2,000 houses worth $500,000 each, and to me that's a pretty chewable, biteable task.
I know someone that owns 2,000 properties in Texas.
He's a billionaire, or she, or it.
I don't think he would like to be called it.
I don't know who
This dude's a total boss. Total boss. Worked for Ronald Reagan. He would not like to be called an it.
Well, you said, I know somebody.
No, I know. I didn't say I know something. And he knows he's a he.
It could have been an entity. It could have been an LLC.
Yeah, I'm sure it's an LLC. But, yeah. That's totally obtainable.
That's my goal is 2,000 houses, and I don't think that's crazy. I mean, there's 2,000 houses within 5 minutes a year.
I don't think it's crazy at all. I think it's so obtainable, especially when you look at the rate upon which your rentals are growing, because you don't go out and buy all the hottest new stuff, right? You don't go out and buy, what are those shoes? What are those? Those are not Jordans.
Air Max 96s.
Dude, those look like Payless.
Turquoise. These are, I have to say, these are $150.
Oh, man.
So this is where I splurge. I
just said they look like Payless.
I like Payless-esque shoes.
Oh, man.
I have a wide foot.
Yeah.
So my right pinky toe, if I wear normal shoes, will rub on the edge.
Okay. You get a bunion or whatever they call it.
I get such a soreness that it's like, all right, I can't wear this shoe anymore. I fucking throw it out.
Yeah.
So I have to buy this specific shoe. And it happens to be wicked expensive. But I have no choice.
Can they see your shoe? Show them your shoe. It's purple. It's DiSpirito team colors.
It's Payless.
I thought it was. They just look generic. I'm sorry, man.
Air Max.
Oh, yeah.
there's no Nike symbol except for the back here.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
So I have, ask Mick, leasing director, I have like 9 pairs of these shoes, but in different colors.
Yeah.
And they come in these weird colors like pink and white and black and purple and turquoise. It's like not my favorite shoe, but they're wicked comfortable.
Who cares? You wear it with confidence.
That's it. So I wear these shoes that necessarily I don't like, and I don't really like spending $150 on shoes, but they feel good.
You know, and I used to always have Payless shoes growing up, right?
Me too.
I had the Cobras, not the Jordans, the Cobras. And I remember, I went to a parochial school, and I remember a kid raising his hand, and the teacher calling on him. Her name was actually Miss Money, I believe, at the time. I think it was my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Money. And the kid goes, I just want to tell the class that Emilio's parents shop at Salvation Army for all of his shoes. And the whole class pointed and laughed at me. And I was so pissed. And I just felt so shitty. And you know, you're a kid, you're easily impressionable.
True.
And I think those experiences are amazing to have as kids. Because that was like, I want nice things, like, you know, and it's not the material things that make us. But at the same time, it's like, you know, now I'm over here cracking on your shoes that are way more expensive than Payless shoes. But listen, from someone who wore Payless shoes, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Appreciate you. I mean, nothing wrong with Payless. I mean,
they're out of business.
They're out of business.
There's something wrong with Payless.
True. It did catch up to them.
Yeah, Amazon.
The LA Gears, remember the
yes,
light up shoes?
I had those too. Those were actually
Shaq's,
cool.
Remember it was the fake N1s? It was Shaq.
Oh, yeah.
On the...
God bless Shaq.
Yeah.
For doing that.
He had the Walmart.
He was in
clothes.
Wally World.
Wally World. He was in Payless. Like, he infiltrated places where there was no branding.
Uh-huh.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he was the top dog. So you go to Walmart, Payless, whatever.
Yeah. But his ego isn't there. He doesn't have to be selling $100 shoes.
Right.
They're $20 shoes.
Exactly. But people could say, oh, I got Shaq's.
And the thing is, they both cost the same.
I bet.
They both cost the same, I guarantee you.
Same factory, probably.
Probably the same factory turnout, the same children in the factory turning it out. Let's get real. Let's get real.
It's true.
It's messed up, right? It's messed up, but...
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Kobe had his own shoes, Jordan. And then you had Allen Iverson, who had his own shoe. You remember the Iverson?
Yeah.
Like slip-ons. And then you got Shaq. And then you got Carmelo, right? Carmelo had shoes.
Carmelo Anthony had shoes.
And then Derrick Rose had his own shoes. So my point is, what do you think about when your name becomes a brand? Is that your goal with the DiSpirito team? Or is that, you know, what's your thoughts on just growing to a point where people pay for you?
Well, I wanted to learn how you're going to get 2,000 houses. So if we can circle back around to how you're going to get 2,000 houses,
absolutely.
I want to learn about that. I can let you know why I chose DiSpirito team versus some generic name. And we had this conversation a long time ago, and you said, dude, you know, like, look at where things are moving. They're moving away from people's names, especially when you have a team, this and that. And I don't disagree with you. And several people have told me that. I don't think it's wrong advice. I don't think it's bad advice, but I disagree with it because I think it's all about when you own a business, it's personal to you. Mm-hmm. And all we own is our names.
True.
That's it. And our social security numbers. We don't even own that. That's a government issued. But our names mean something to us. Our names are, you know, it's us. It's who we are, right? And even people look like certain names, right? So I mean, names are pretty important, right?
You look like an Emilio.
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh wow, thank you.
Or like a David.
I had some people tell me I look like a Jerry, and I'm like, Jerry. And nothing wrong with Jerry. I know some Jerrys.
Or a J?
I don't know, but I'm like,
a G Jerry.
dude, I don't look like Jerry. And they're like, how do you know you don't look like a Jerry? Because I am Emilio the 4th. I look like an Emilio. My son's the 5th. I look like my dad, my grandfather, my great-grandfather. I look like an Emilio. What do you mean? Like,
what's the dealio?
What's the dealio, Emilio? Yeah, and you're male, you said. Anyways, So Greg, to get off this ADD moment we're having right here, my name means with spirit.
Okay.
With the Holy Spirit, that's really what it means, like with the Holy Spirit, right? But with spirit too, and spirit, Holy Spirit, whether you're religious or not, spirit is, you know what I mean, like, it's just so important to have spirit in anything you do. You know, it could be with alcohol too, with spirits, you know, if you want it, but realistically, so with spirit, and my name guides my team and I in all of our core beliefs in what we do. Okay, so with spirit, the dove is a symbol of spirit, and that's why there's a dove in our logo. And the dove is an empathetic, a devoted, it's a loyal,
Peaceful.
and a peaceful animal. And I think that realtors are of the same kind. And I think that the best real estate agents embody all of those traits and qualities. And that's why we have such like a rigorous interviewing process with who we allow in our immediate family and who we keep.
Yep.
Okay, because when we see someone straying from some of that stuff, it affects the entire brand.
You become like the Hawk team.
We don't want to be the Hawk team. We don't want to be the Eagles.
Looking around.
Yeah. Like, we'd rather be the what do doves make? They make coos. Like a pigeon. They're a pretty pigeon. We're the pretty pigeons. But yeah, man, so that's so important. The purple, okay, is for luxury and comfort.
Yep.
And I got to thank Stop and Shop for the purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought the purple. It used to be red and green.
Yeah.
Stop and Shop, like red, green. They were like a stoplight.
Great.
It's like, all right, that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Let's sex it up a little bit. So they threw in the purple.
Yeah, they did. They
Now
threw in,
everybody's stopping and shopping.
hey, that's it, you know. So purple, I asked them, back in the day, I used to sell toilet paper and urinal cakes door to door. I could get you some good deals. I get some good deals on 2-ply if you need. When everyone else was out, Daddy was in. Daddy had the 2-ply. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, the last 3 months, you would have been like.
Got connects.
You got
So.
we were stealing from here.
Yeah.
There was people stealing from the stockroom.
That happens everywhere.
We were like, Nick, our CEO, orders like boxes of toilet paper. Like,
Yeah.
I think 80 rolls.
It's expensive.
80 rolls coming in this big box. Amazon brings it. And they were slowly depleting. And we have like 20, 30 people that work here. So we're like, hey, who's taking the toilet paper? Nobody fessed up. So everybody blamed the tenants in the building.
Oh.
We have other tenants and their friends and their family or whoever comes. So it's yet to be determined, but we have a TPT, toilet paper thief. So you were saying?
Is that a fireable offense?
It's shitty.
It is shitty. It is shitty. I mean, would you rather have them using paper bags and coming in, walking funny, like all?
It used to be computer paper. People would steal some from work.
Computer paper?
Little booklet of paper, but now they're taking toilet paper.
Oh, yeah.
Next is gonna be what? Batteries.
Batteries. Why?
I don't know. But you were saying?
I don't remember.
Purple, Stop it.
Oh, yeah, purple. Yeah. So I asked the guy that was in charge of the distribution center, and that place is amazing, over 1 million square feet. All these electronic, arms and stuff pulling. It's crazy, right? Pulling the inventory, getting it ready to ship. All these people running around. Crazy. And I was like, why? So you guys had a new logo. This was back in the day. You guys have a new logo. What does the purple mean? And the purple intrigued me the most because it's not a color you see a lot. Right, and that's what I like about it too. It stands out, right? Not a color you see a lot. So he's like, "Oh yeah, it means comfort." comfort. And we found when we did consumer studies, people were comfortable with it. So Stop and Shop, thank you for teaching me that.
Yeah.
But also, purple's a luxurious color. And the reason why it's luxurious is because it took a certain type of worm. I think it was like a certain type of worm with a pigment in it, and they had to crush so many or do whatever poor worms to get that color. And royalty, like kings and stuff, would wear a lot of purple and whatnot because it was a very rare, rich color.
So you got the purple and the white.
Yeah, purple and the white. White is for purity and peace.
Cool. I didn't know that.
Yep. Google is
So your
is
name,
awesome too with that.
DiSpirito, transcended into the dove-ish, kind of, and that brought the purple and the white.
Yeah,
And it's all just one happy
it means something.
combination of meaningfulness.
Yeah, it means something, and that's important. And when your business can mean something, then you can get people with you, standing with you that mean something, that believe in that too. And that's important. Once your whole team or your organization believes in the same thing, and they know that they're going out there representing not only themselves, but something bigger than them, there's no limits to what can happen there. Okay, the only limit you're going to have is your limitations that you place on yourself and your organization. So it's been pretty amazing. I'm glad we went that route, and we're gonna keep that and grow that. Definitely.
Love it.
I want to ask you. I want to hijack your show again, and I want to ask you because I'm sure people are wondering, how do you plan on acquiring? You're almost 30 years old, so you have 20 years to acquire 2,000 properties. Let's forget about the properties you currently have. Okay, 2,000 divided by 20. How many properties? How many properties per year, Greg? You're in the hot seat.
100.
100. Okay, so
Average.
on average. Okay, so 100. Call it 8 a month. You have to buy 8 houses a month.
Yeah. The time's ticking.
8 houses a month. Some people don't own a house. What is your plan to buy 8 houses a month?
What I'm going to do is go on Broad Street, and I'm going to change all the locks.
Okay. I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I was like, you're going to stand on the corner of the
I'm going to
street?
change 100 locks, and then I own 100 houses.
Okay.
I think
All right.
what's going to happen is, like, now, I'm on the start of this, curve, if you will.
It's compounding.
So I'm getting 2 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses a year, 5 houses a year.
Yeah.
And eventually, it's got to increase. Big
Agreed.
time. So it'll be in the latter part of this 20 years that I get probably 80% of what I need to.
I would agree with that.
Like, it's going to be like a weird curve where then it's like years 18, 19, and 20, I get there.
Yeah.
But that's how real estate works. It's a long game, and it's exponential at the end.
You said it. It's a very long game. It's a get rich slow game.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. It takes time.
You got to get the wheels churning, and it's so hard to get them churning. But it's kind of...
But it's not.
Depends what your goals are.
Oh, well, let's give them a strategy in a couple minutes. I want to hear your strategy, and I'll tell them my strategy to get started owning investment properties. But go ahead. What were you saying?
So, if you want to give them a strategy, everybody has seen the Titanic. Remember that movie?
I cried.
Yeah, me too.
I was in 8th grade.
You know what year that came out?
1998.
97.
I was in 8th grade. Yeah, okay. I was in the beginning of 8th grade. Okay.
I'm just doing math trivia here.
That's fine. I obviously am so good at that.
So this movie taught me real estate because the ship was ideas. The ship was skills. The ship was years of previous effort and input and networking and education. So the ship is like your brain and your wallet. That's what the Titanic was, metaphorically speaking. So you need to make your Titanic as big and impenetrable as possible, which is your brain and your procedures and your philosophies. Like, you need to hammer down and nail down the way you do things and how things affect you or don't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to build that. And usually you build that in your teen years, your young adult years, and then when you're 30, you pretty much have molded your being.
Who you are.
Who you are. So I'm lucky I got started a little bit earlier because of Nexus. I started at Nexus when I was 22. So I think I did a lot of my molding 10 years earlier than my colleagues.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I think it's more you. You are the one that did it, and you got
I
here.
wanted to do it. And a lot of people, they just, like you were saying with the COVID, they just hang out, they watch Netflix, they just go with the flow.
Couldn't do it.
So me, I'm like you, I'm fighting against the currents all the time. And each stroke you take, you're getting, a muscle.
Stronger.
And stronger. So back to the Titanic analogy, now my ship has set sail from the dock. The waters are smooth, it's sunny.
Mm-hmm.
I could still see land.
Mm-hmm.
I got 48 apartments.
It's quite a bit, yeah.
I'm off, but I'm not too far.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen, though, is now you're setting out to sea. Now you get 100 units, 500 units, 1,000 units. There's going to be waves. There's going to be icebergs. There's going to be storms. There's going to be failures on board.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Things are going to happen in my life. Maybe I get in an accident. Maybe I come down with sickness, whatever. So the point is you want to make that ship, which is your being, as strong as possible. So when the waves do come, or the iceberg does come, your ship can still keep going. So that's my plan to reach my $1 billion, is to keep it as tight and as smooth as possible.
The fact that you can take that from the Titanic and put that into a story where I'm like, wow, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
Storytelling is a trait that I think is so important, and it's something I need to work on, and it's dying, and people are intrigued by stories. And when you can tell a story that moves people, or a story like that I think is pretty fascinating, and it's a really cool, it makes you think. People like to think, and they like to imagine stuff. They like to picture things. And when you can get someone's mind picturing, the mind's eye looking at stuff and seeing it, then it can be, you can believe it. You can, move anything forward. And I think that's a huge skill, Greg. I think that's going to get you your $1 billion.
True, but I'm not, saying that stories are going to make me successful. I think it's going to help in the relationship building, like you're saying, and networking.
Yeah.
But I'm big on getting my hands dirty. I'm big on befriending and understanding contractors.
Mm-hmm.
My father, understanding what it takes to build and to maintain and to keep the tenants happy. Like all these things that I consider blue collar.
Mm-hmm.
I keep going back to that because that's the success in rentals, is understanding the common person.
Yep.
And I try to do that.
People want to be appreciated.
That's it. Nobody wants to be looked at like a number.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many owners out there that are just, they're successful in their regards, but then they come to this business, and I'm sure you deal with this too, where it's like, they're so off base and they're so offensive and so like just out of touch with what we're dealing with that it's like, you're never going to succeed. You got a 3-family in Providence, you have all this money, but you don't have a clue, and you can't pay for that.
Yeah.
So you have to stay humble, and Nick always says that. You got to stay humble. You got to stay humble. You got to be softer. You got to go on.
Nick Dagnillo,
You
Nexus.
got to go on a pillow, and it's like, yes, but sometimes no.
Yeah.
But you can't all the time be just an aggressor.
Yeah.
You need to understand, and like your logo does, empathize.
Yeah, you have to give back more than you expect to get. And that's something like, so the properties that you're doing, what I find fascinating is you're putting this high-end tile, all of this expensive stuff in your units that other owners might be like, no, why the hell would I do that? Well, you're going to have tenants that are taking pride in the fact that you're taking pride in your property and in them. And when you walk into a home that is nice and new and just beautiful, that could change someone's life.
Yep.
That's where they live, right? And also, you're going to get a higher rent too. Let's face it. I mean, of course, you're going to get a higher rent. But people are going to take care of and appreciate, for the most part, not everybody, but they're going to appreciate it more. One little thing like that could cause someone to really start thinking like, wow, you know what? I like what this guy did in here. You know, I'm going to look at my wardrobe. Like, I need to be more professional. I'm going to do that. And one thing leads to another, to another, to another. It's a compounding effect. Everything we do in life is a total compounding effect.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's good that you see that.
I see it, and I think about it in every little thing I do. But I think about that. I think more importantly about like my son and every little thing I do and how it's going to affect him, right? Like, and when you have kids and stuff, it's just, it does that. And I think that's such a powerful thing. Everybody has their different reasons why they do stuff. And I'm like, is what I'm doing right now, is he going to look up to that? Is he gonna say like, oh, my dad did the right thing in this situation? And it really gets me to put everything into perspective, like, oh my God, like, what is Emilio the Fifth gonna think about me then?
You're looking at legacy.
Yeah, and I wanna, you wanna be that example for your kids. I think most people do, I really do. I think a lot of people do, but I also think there's a lot of people that are really unconscious in a lot of decisions and stuff that they make. And what COVID, I think, did, not to bring this shit up again, I'm sick of saying it, and what I think you were getting at is that you became more conscious.
Yes.
And I seen it, and I saw you, and I was like, dude, you look great, like you working out, like this and that, whatever else. You're like, oh, Peloton. And I was like, what? And that was like right around that time period. And then, and I was like, wow, and then you start eating better, you start doing things better. It was just really, really cool. So many benefits, I think, came from that.
So, dude, how often do you get out? Like, non-business stuff?
Not much. I don't know. Maybe like once a month, but I haven't been out maybe I would say really maybe once a month.
I feel like we work so hard that we forget to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Mm-hmm. Like, we go bike riding, which is nice.
That's my getting out. Like, really, I was gonna say, I like it too, man. It gets me. It's awesome. It's not like going out getting smashed. It's like productive, and you feel good, and you got more energy, and you're doing something healthy for your body and your mind. Right. Like, I don't feel whole if I'm not like out exercising and stuff. I love bike riding.
And while we're biking, we're talking.
Yeah, it's actually not as hard to do once you get used to like the breathing and whatnot.
Yep.
Unless you're going uphill.
Shut up while you're uphill.
I was on the phone the other day, like no earpiece. I was like this, going up a hill, like San Francisco style hill in West Warwick, and I was like, oh my God, I gotta let you go. This panting is me going on a bike up the hill, I swear. It was my brother on the other line.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like exercise is so important. Mental exercise is important. And just decompressing. Mm-hmm. I feel like us business folks, and a lot of people in business, there's such a pressure to perform. And there's such a pressure to, You
don't want performance anxiety in business, Greg.
So, like mortgage brokers, those guys and gals do not stop working. Like, you look at Matt Bates, for example. Shout out to Movement Mortgage. It's like 10:30 the other night. He picks up the phone, talking, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, get the inspection, and it's like, dude, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
But there's a expectation in today's business climate that the customer wants it instant.
Makes it hard for people, though,
You're sacrificing your soul.
I don't think so. I think my soul is into, aside from family and all that, is into creating, helping in business, and so that's part of Matt's soul.
True, but my point is, like, if you're always working, then
you're always on.
Neglecting something else.
Agreed. I would agree with that.
So whether it's family or whatever, health or exercise or travel or whatever, you can't always be working, is my point. And
you gotta recharge, yeah.
You gotta recharge. So decompressing is something I enjoy in the bike, swimming, watering my grass. On my old man game.
Rinsing out your driveway. Why do people water their driveway? Go in Cranston, you see all these guys watering their driveway. How's it growing?
It's cleaning it.
I know, but it's like...
He's cleaning the driveway. But that's, as funny as it is, I think it's a decompressor.
I would say so. See, me, I'm like, how many thirsty children are out there? I can't water a driveway.
True.
That's what I think about.
True.
It's kind of crazy, but I'm like, I don't know. That's not the topic, though. But I'm with you.
No, I get you there. And it's something that I think when you're younger, you look at older people and you kind of laugh at them.
Because we're dumb and young.
And you're like, oh, look at this old guy or look at this old lady, and whatever they're doing, you're like, oh, why are they doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older, I think you come to appreciate and respect.
And the older people tend to get younger in your mind. I look at 70-year-olds like, oh, they're not that old. Oh, you mean he died at 76? That's young. And I'm like, oh my God. I used to be like, oh, it's old.
Yeah.
Like very old, but it's not. And I'm like, oh my God, that's only double where I'm at right now. Imagine that.
It comes quick.
It does.
My dad just turned 60.
God bless him. Your dad's a beast, though. Your dad's a total beast.
60. I remember when he was 50. I remember when he was 40.
Likewise. I remember when my parents were 40. I remember my dad's 40th birthday party. Now I'm almost 40. Almost.
How old are you?
35.
Oh, you're young.
Well, that goes back to me thinking a 75-year-old person's young.
True.
But I feel young. I feel 18. I feel great ever since we've gone on those bike rides and stuff. You did 40 miles the other day.
So what I do is I try to go, it's ocean to border. So I live in Warwick, right near the ocean, right near the airport. So I get on my bike there and I drive all the way to the West Warwick Coventry Greenway, I think they call it.
Yeah.
There's what's that factory?
Bradford Soap.
Bradford Soap. That's usually where I get on right there. And then I take that all the way to the end.
Yeah.
It used to be the Providence Hartford rail line.
Yeah.
And it takes you to Greene, Rhode Island, which is like...
Sticks, Western Cranston.
Oh, yeah, it's out there.
Close. It's close. It's a few miles, but yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's a long ride.
And then you get off and you got to go on some roads and then you hit Connecticut.
Yep.
And then you come back. So it's I think it's like a 650-foot elevation from where I start to when you get there.
It's a climb.
It's a climb. And it takes about an hour and change to get there. But on the way back, it's cruise.
It's a coast.
So I'm glad it's not the inverse.
That's a good metaphor. You got a metaphor for that. It's like everything else. It's like, the climb is a bitch, right? But it's the fun part.
It is.
I fucking love the climb, dude. I love the climb. I'm a climber, right? You're a climber?
Because jumping off or the cruise back is
easy.
Fun, but you don't gain anything from it.
It's just momentum, I guess, but at that point, you take it for granted.
You do.
Right? Not at first, and then you're like, oh, this shit's easy, and you take it for granted. Then you want to climb something else. But that's the thing, right? Is like once you develop systems in a business, once you develop this or that, and you're like, what is that next step? Right?
What's it for you?
My next step?
Yeah.
I got a lot of different next steps, but my next step specifically for, this is a movement hat, not DiSpirito team hat. For DiSpirito team is building out the team. We're building niches in our team, Okay, so we were talking about how everybody has their niche. So I want the people with the niches building teams under them, specifically for that niche. Let's use new construction, for example, right? We got Joe Fazio. Joe Fazio is a super detailed guy. Fantastic.
Look at his house.
What exactly? One of the smartest people I know. Perfect management skills. Man, he manages me a lot of times, like really, like he's like, yeah, man, what's up with this? We could do this. We did an awesome business partner. Fantastic guy. Can't say enough about him.
Joe.
Love Joe.
Guy.
Day one guy, dude. Yeah, he's been around like Jackie, day one. Like these people have been there. We've been building this together, right? So Joe could easily have several people working with him, right? And for him, basically. And now we go in and we meet with builders and we say, look, we have a specific division of our team that handles specifically this. And new construction is a pain in the ass to deal with. Oh my God, yeah, of course. Especially when people start picking out finishes, this and that. Oh, what about this? What about that? When you're building houses, even spec houses, they come with different options, right? Or different credits or this and that. You got to know what you're doing, and then there's a lot of realtors that are good in that space, but we want to be great in that space. We want to be the best at that. We want to be doing big developments, okay? And there's only so many in Rhode Island. There's not many. And it's going to happen. It will. Just like Pam with luxury. Jackie's actually like stepping up the price game, doing quite a bit, $500,000 homes, stuff like that, And so we want people that specialize in what they're great at. Mike with the VA, right? Veterans, he's the VA guy. He's known as that guy that knows things about the VA mortgages, that knows the ins and outs about what homes qualify for VA, that knows what the VA people need, that knows what our military need, what they want, their lifestyles, what they've been through.
Yep.
And that's the biggest thing. That's the most important thing. People you can mesh with, connect with, people that are people that are going to give you advice that you need to hear, not the shit you want to hear.
Right.
We're going to give it to you straight, and you're going to also tell us what your goal is, your long-term goals. And earlier on, we were talking about how to start the process of investing and getting into real estate and buying. And I think somebody like yourself, who has been massively successful at age 29, you're 29, and you have done more in your 29 years than some people have in a lifetime, than most people have in a lifetime, right? How did you get started building that property empire?
2015.
That's not that long ago, dude. 5 years.
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
So I bought a 4-family in East Providence.
Wow.
My wife and I lived there in one unit.
So owner-occ.
Owner-occupied.
FHA or...
You have to live in it.
Okay.
You have to live in a property if you're buying as a first-time home buyer and getting the low down payment. You can't use that and buy an investment.
No.
And not move there. That's illegal.
Yeah.
So you move in, we moved in, you rent the other 3 out, and then now you offset your normal living expenses because you have 3 rents to pay your mortgage and your utilities and whatever other expenses, your repairs that come up. So you offset what most people grind for week in and week out, like our parents did. They worked to live. I don't do that.
Why would you?
I live to work.
I mean, it's smart. It's rich dad, poor dad advice from that book.
When you're working to live, you're behind the 8 ball. You're one transmission away
It sucks.
from bankruptcy.
It sucks.
You're treading water. So now...
Most people live like that.
Most people...
I've lived like that.
Yeah, and you should live like that so you know what it's like and you don't want to live like that.
Agreed. And that's why my son will live like that for certain aspects of his life.
You got to earn it and trade it and garner that all right, enough of this.
And you got to experience failure.
Yeah.
You got to fucking fail.
You do. You got to rent. You got to get fired from a job.
I've gotten fired from so many
You got to have
jobs.
girls and guys break up with you. You got to get a flat tire.
Yeah.
You got to break your ankle. Like, you got to do these things. And I've done all these things.
You broke your ankle?
You remember Christine? She broke her leg. By the tree.
I was telling a story the other day on a video, and I was just making a metaphor, just making up a story about why people are so attached to their home, and I just said, oh, that's where Christine broke her leg, at the tree house. Like, people are attached to their homes. I was trying to explain different things that have happened, and Greg was watching that in Whole Foods, just dying laughing.
By myself.
By himself.
And the kid with the carriages. Because
like-
I was in my car with the windows down because I was having lunch, and I just started laughing.
Eating lunch, laughing.
Looking at this kid, and he looks at me like, should I call the cops?
Yeah.
This crazy, creepy guy. And I park all the way to the back, and I back in, so it's like no cars.
And you can see everything. You're watching the carriage boy.
And I'm eating sushi with a fork.
That's weird in itself.
My sister makes fun of me. She's like, you eat sushi
Dude,
with
I
a
could teach you
fork?
how to use chopsticks.
No, I can. It's just like, let's cut to the chase.
No. Dude, the climb, man. It tastes better with chopsticks.
You eat rice with chopsticks, or you want to?
Let's cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase.
They like spin it. It's like, dude, here's a spoon.
You can only put 3 grains on there at one time.
If you're lucky.
And I am a fat bastard. I love carbs. I'm Italian, right? I love pasta. I love bread. I want to eat a lot. I want to eat spoonfuls of rice in my face at one time. I can't do 3 grains and they fall off like shit. But yeah.
That's with the fork. I'm like, some people pick up the sushi with the fork, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, why are we? And you're right. It is an art in essence. It's the process. It's the slowness.
It tastes better.
It's the delicacy. But to me, it's just like it's
Tastes
salmon and it's rice.
Salmon.
Let's get down to business. We're in the parking lot. We're looking at the carriage kid. Back to that initial point, though. A lot of people will buy that single family home, have that emotional attachment like you're talking about, and then get stuck.
It sucks. You're living for that Cadillac in the driveway and that white picket fence, and you're broke as shit. Living the American dream. Broke as that's not the American dream. That's been mislabeled, and you have been sold some marketing bullshit. That's not it.
You're stuck.
What you're doing is the American dream.
Right.
And foreigners know this more than Americans now.
Dude, foreigners understood, like you look at Fox Point, the Portuguese came.
Yeah.
The first floor was a store.
Yeah.
Second and third floor, they lived. The whole family.
Yeah.
Manny Aniceto, you can check out his blog on our website. He worked at the store that his grandfather started.
My family had that too.
It's called Friends Market on Brook Street.
Yeah, love it.
So the foreigners, you even see Central Falls and Pawtucket, Cape Verdes, they came. They got it. Like, you have to split housing expenses. They didn't go to Cranston. They didn't go to Scituate and Warwick. And it's like they understood that they needed to live humbly.
Yeah.
And then eventually they could spread their wings, which they did. But it seems like the American dream was mislabeled. So people that were raised here, that you and I went to school with, thought, okay,
Debt.
I got to graduate high school. I got to take on $100,000 in college debt for a degree that, I might not use.
Yeah.
I have to buy a single family house. I have to have kids before I'm 30, and then I'm good to start my career, if you will,
Yeah.
or start my ascension. It's like, maybe that's your goal, and no disrespect to you if that's your goal.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's not a bad thing.
Nope.
But if you aspire to grow and invest and to blossom, you're severely driving down a road with 4 flat tires.
And it's a Rhode Island road, so it's filled with potholes.
Speed bumps, potholes, and tolls.
And if you could do it in Rhode Island, you can do it anywhere. And tolls, yeah. Yep.
True. But it's just like, you need to live in a multi to offset your expenses, to learn how to coexist with people that you may not like or have normally lived near. Like, you need to understand how to operate in society. And when you move to that house in the middle of the woods, what are you really learning? Or what are you really expanding or nurturing yourself with?
I think you got to live in both. I mean, I think like I grew up in the city. I grew up in Springfield, Mass, and then moved here to Rhode Island. And, I like both. I'd prefer not to live in the city anymore.
For sure, but you should go through it as my point.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think it makes you.
Be cozy, and a lot of people, I think, always want to be comfy.
It toughens you up.
Yes.
The city toughens you up.
I don't live in Providence. I live in Pawtucket.
I lived in Pawtucket.
I lived in North Attleboro. It's not really a city, but just very dense neighborhoods that you got to get along with people.
I love people. I love being around people. I love learning different things, different cultures, different ways, different food. Like, why the hell do you do it like that? Like, where did that come from? You know what I mean? Like, you learn so much. You learn stuff about yourself too. Like, oh wow, why didn't I think about doing it this way?
Right.
Or, wow, that's a cool perspective. Or, well, I don't agree with that perspective, but, it's probably because I was raised this way. No big deal. Cool. Let's agree to disagree.
Right.
Move on. And I feel like America's losing a lot of that, too. Not to go there, but I feel like people are getting so so sensitive to the point where you can't, you know what I mean? So I don't like hanging out with people that feel restricted in what they have to say and how they have to talk, and they're always trying to be politically correct and this and that. Like, nothing you say to me is gonna hurt my feelings because I got thick skin because I've been made fun of as a kid.
Yep.
I've been, we all go through spots in life where we have heartbreaks or we've been beat up or we've been like whatever. Like, you get through it and it makes you more resilient. And for the fact of the matter, we were talking before this was on about the people like we like to surround ourselves with. Mm-hmm. I don't want to surround myself with people that are so sensitive. You say something to them, they're crying about every little thing. They're nitpicking everything I'm saying. They take it personal. It's like, yo, I'm not even talking about you. Like, right. I don't want that. And I find that it's a weakness, and some people may not even know that they have that. But I don't like that victim kind of attitude, right? And I found myself in life as the victim a lot of times. I used to be like, I'm the victim, right? When I was younger and stuff. Like, no, I'm not. And I don't know, I think once you learn that, like, you know what, I'm accountable for all the bullshit I've done. I'm accountable for what I want to see come out of my life, what I want to see come out of my family's life, all this stuff. And I think that really is such a huge thing. When you learn that, then you're like, okay, cool. If I don't get up and treat myself as someone who's unemployed every day and fight for it and get hungry for it, then you're gonna just fall. You're gonna coast until you stop. I don't want to stop. I want to keep that momentum going.
And leave a legacy when you're gone.
Yeah.
So we were talking before about who you surround yourself with, and I found that a lot of my high school friends, college friends, are just hitting their strides now. So they're getting their houses, they're getting their jobs, they're getting girlfriends, they're getting, they're hitting it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go and say, oh, I got this many houses, or I'm doing this, or Nexus sold another office, it's like they don't want to hear about it because they can't relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had no choice but to really limit my hanging out, if you will, with this crowd because, I want to talk about this stuff with you, how I'm going to get to here, who I'm going to do it with. And they're like, all right, well, we want to talk about this stuff, and we want to pull pranks, and we want to get drunk, and we want to party, and we don't want to hear about this positive stuff. Get out of here with that, good information. We don't have time for that. So it's almost like we're on different levels, different stages, and it happens in life.
Mm-hmm. It does. It happens in relationships. It happens
everywhere.
Yeah.
So, you, I, Sam Alba, and his brother.
Love Sam.
We go bike riding. It's 4 different people, all doing positive, good things.
Mm-hmm.
All reaching for more. So that 2 hours of hanging out, we shoot a video, We bounce ideas off each other.
It was productive.
We go up these hills. We just so much content and stimulation in 2 hours, and there's no threshold. Is the point? There's no barriers, and that's the point. And I think a lot of people should take note. Is you have to hang out and surround yourself with similar. It could just be one sour apple that you hang out with that can just totally taint the spirit.
Agreed. Nice.
The energy, whatever it is. Like you gotta cut them out. And that might be your lifelong buddy. But if he's slopping it up,
Yeah.
or she, or it, or they, or who, cut it out. Because that will bring you down, because you're just like, oh, I can't talk about that because, Joey gets offended.
It limits your thoughts, your creativity. Maybe there's somebody watching this and it's like, I want to ride bikes with those guys.
Hey, if you want to ride bikes with us, just leave a comment.
Yeah, I started a business. I'm running a business. I got 50 people working under me. I got 3 people working under me. I got, I want to bounce ideas off people, It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you do. We want to surround ourselves with people that are, positive, and at the same time that are not overly sensitive. Business people.
That's it.
Entrepreneurial thinkers, creative people, solution solvers,
Yep.
not problem makers, right?
Amen.
Amen.
Great way to end the show.
Thanks, brother.
Our first podcast, Your
Nice
Property
job.
Managed. That was good. I mean, that's a solid 90 minutes of content. I mean, maybe half of that we were laughing.
Yeah. It was great, though.
Payless.
We got sidetracked a couple times, but that's what's up.
But what we're going to do, and what the tradition is here, is the guest gets to nominate the next guest. So who are you nominating to be guest number 2?
Yeah, I would have to say this person is a go-getter, a total hustler. I put him through a test when he first cold called me, okay, and I blew him off, and I do that on purpose. I want to find someone who's resilient for business partners. So I'll blow them off, because we get cold called all the time. And this person stayed on it. What happened was this person just kept on it, and I was like, you know what? Let's go. Let's do this. Let's meet up. I like you. You're resilient. John LaPointe with LaPointe Insurance. I nominate John LaPointe, total hustler, blowing up. He is responsible for every 20 out of every 100 homes insured in Rhode Island, and he's just getting started. Total boss.
John, you hear that? You're the next customer on The Price is Wrong.
Hey, nice job, bro.
Cool, man. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
And we look forward to having John
Thank
on
you.
the show. And
He'll kill it.
Tune in the next episode of Your Property Managed.